So after my last few videos, I had a request for maybe a bit more basic yoga. So I thought maybe it might be nice to go back to basics today. It's never too late. It's never the wrong time in your practice to do basic yoga in the sense of coming back to the simplicity of the movements and spending a little bit more time focusing on them. So this will be a little bit of a blend of a hatha and a flow class. So we'll hold poses for a bit, and then we'll also move through the poses a little bit more fluidly once we get familiar with them. So I'm not going to focus on anything in particular other than just basics and keeping it simple and working on some of the postures that can get you more comfortable with bigger postures to come. So enjoy. And as with any practice, we start with our breath and settling into practice. So see how it's comfortable to you. This easy seated position, Sukhasana, is just a simple way to sit and feel settled into your mat. But if you have a block or a book or anything that might prop up you from the floor, lifts the floor to you, you can sit on the block, so that lifts your hips up. So if your hips are really tight today, if you sit something like this, then putting those blocks, a book, a pillow underneath the knee can help. Or you can take that block and set it underneath the sit bones. And the sit bones are the bottom of the pelvis. So it's the little pokey things in your buns, right? So you can sit up, and that kind of props the hips forward. So let your knees settle, let your hips relax. And that can be another way to do that. A blanket does the same thing. Having a block close by is always a good idea, just for an option. But for here, let your hands and your arms settle where it's comfortable. Generally, when we open our palms, it's a gesture of openness and willingness for energy that could come into you. And if we close our hands towards ourselves, then it's more that you're here to kind of settle into your own space and nourish yourself from within. So whatever feels comfortable to you. Take the shoulders back, wiggle them out a little bit. Rock your ribs back so you feel like you're settling into those sit bones and into your mat. And take a deep breath that fills from here, from the belly first, opens up into the ribs, opens up into the outer space, and then melts back down again so the shoulders relax, the elbows go limp. Inhaling fully, exhaling deeply. And maybe just close the eyes, let them settle toward the floor if that's not comfortable to you. And begin to listen to your breath. Nothing more than just paying attention. Feel the coolness of the breath coming in. Of the breath as it eases back out through the nose. Breathing in and out through the nose is a natural calm to the body. Every time you exhale, think about something that you can draw your attention to in the body. Shoulders, neck, sometimes where we hold our tension. Maybe it's the hips where you feel a bit snug. Scan the body. Take time with each breath to pause. Breath dive a little deeper. Fill the belly, open it and lengthen it further than you normally would on an inhale. And equally, we let the breath empty just as deep on the exhale. Infusing the body with your oxygenated blood, with oxygenated blood as you bring the breath in. Just getting rid of all the excess on the exhale. Kind of empty, let go of not only some of the tension you might hold in the body, but let go of mind. Let go of some of the distraction. Breathe in deeply, refresh the mind. Exhale deeply and open space in the mind. Let your breath not only nourish the body, but nourish the mind, and that it keeps you reminded of why you're here. If this is something new to you, then welcome it in and just be open to what's available in front of you. If it's just a step back to pause and re-examine your practice, be patient enough to let the beauty of that reconnect, that slowing down, the basics melt in. Take a moment to pause, hands, heart center. We bring our hands to our heart to honor. We invite our heart, that energy of the heart, chakra, to be part of our practice. And we're open and loving to the body, to the movement, to the breath, to ourselves. So we let go of competition and self-examination, I guess. We just try to be who we are. If you're practicing with somebody, great. Use that energy, but don't compare. Just be you and know that this is your body and your gift, your opportunity. Find something, just a single thing that you maybe just drift back to once in a while. You take a deep breath in. You pause on that thing. You take a deep breath out. And let everything else go. Call it our intention. Just being intentional in your practice. Something that keeps you present on your mat. Let that energy of your intention just float up and away from the heart. Open the eyes, follow the hands to the sky, and open the arms. Just kind of let it into your space. Let the hands continue to flow right back down to the floor. Let your chin drop down towards your chest. Relax the back of the neck. The forehead and the top of the head go heavy. The shoulders dribble down. The elbows go soft. Again, lean the ribs back, feel settled in your sit bones. Take a breath in. You exhale, let the back of the neck go long. Relax and let go of tension. Take your next breath in and just let the head lift up, the arms float to the sky. Follow your hands again. And this time as you exhale, toggle the arm down to the left side. As the hand touches the mat, just kind of settle in. Begin to arc the spine. As you arc the spine to the side, the arm is going to continue to reach out. So let it be long. The head fall and you to the side, the eyes, the chin, and the neck want to turn upward. But play with it a little bit. Turn your head left and right. Just see what your neck is telling you. And find that one space where you feel like you're comfortable holding it. Begin to soften your elbow. You can walk the hand out a little bit. You can melt it down. And trying to shrink this left side body. Melt in toward the mat. And this arm as it extends, lengthening the right side body from shoulder to hip. So let your right knee relax. Relax your hips and your inner thighs. Maybe rock this top shoulder back a little bit. Instead of being here, you pull back here. Take a breath. It almost feels like it's lifting out your right rib cage, so opening up the right side body. And stay right where you are, but open up the top arm and reach it toward the room behind you. Try to expand across the shoulder and the chest. Open the palm to the ceiling. Again, maybe your eyes look forward and your head looks forward. Maybe it looks up. If you feel strain in the neck, take a little swivel, find your home. You now kind of push the floor away. You can walk the hands in to lift up a bit more. So it's almost like you're lifting your rib cage and your heart to the sky. Can you reach them back further and play with this arm? Is it down a little bit more? Does that feel good in the shoulders, or is it up toward the ceiling? So move it around to find some space in the chest and shoulders. Take another deep breath in. And when you exhale, we're going to soften the left elbow and turn now the entire upper body to look toward the floor. And take this right hand and reach it away from you. Start leaning across the leg. Doesn't matter where you reach, but connect with the mat. Sorry for here. And then walk the left hand with you. Begin to walk your way around toward the front. So as you walk your way to the front, it doesn't matter how far you've walked, right? You're going to try to walk away from your hips. But as you walk away from the hips, be really mindful that the sit bones, again, don't pop off the floor. So instead of being here, keep them anchored so that as we rock, we're opening up the back space, opening up the back muscles. Walk the fingertips, crawl them out, and let your head fall again, just like we did before. Maybe it touches the mat, maybe it hovers above the mat. Let it dribble down. Again, my sit bones want to lift. I'm going to try to anchor them back down and only go as far as you can by keeping those sit bones down. As you walk the hands forward, try walking them closer together. Bring the fingertips together where the thumb and the pointer might touch. Take a deep breath in and send that breath to your hips. Send it to your low back. Use your exhale to maybe soften the elbows. Maybe your hands come back so that they're just sitting under the forehead and you can rest the hand on the forehead. Or you're going to walk in your pillow, your book, set your head there. I want you just to take 3 or 4 breaths, and every time you exhale, let go, soften, become a little heavier. Let go of the hips and the spaces that are resistant. Let go of the shoulders. Take 1 more breath. As you take your next inhale, then begin to lift the head, walk the hands in, slowly ease back up. And before we take it to the other side, we all pick a leg that we cross in front. So we all just kind of decide what feels natural to us as subconscious. Take whatever leg's in front and switch it to the back. Again, reset the sit bones. Take a breath, lift up tall, let the shoulders fall. And then drop on your exhale to the right side. So again, just find your home wherever it is. This leg stays heavy, the sit bone's anchored, and the left arm extends up. So soften into my elbow so I can feel my spine arc. The right side body shrinking, the left side body growing longer. I'm just kind of finding, walking out, walking in, finding where I can melt. For some of you, you might be down here on your elbow. Just make sure we haven't let this happen, right? So keep the hips set. extend the arm, and then we pause to play with the neck a little bit, turning up or turning down. Find where that magic spot is for you on this side, which might be very different than the other side. So you always want to keep in mind when you're practicing that your body is not completely symmetrical or an imbalanced body in your life. We drive only on one side of the car, right? We use our left or right side dominantly. We are right or left-handed predominantly. So we're imbalanced and we kind of live that way. So this helps bring us into that attention, right? Noticing our imbalance and then trying to find where we can create some forgiveness, and through practice and through consistency, finding balance. Take a deep breath in. As you exhale, there's a room to just soften a little bit more, or grow a bit longer in this top arm. Relax your feet. Relax your inner thighs. Let's pause here to just push that floor away a little bit and open up. So the eyes are going to start drifting up maybe, and the arm opens here, reaching for the wall behind you again. So we're lifting just a little bit, pushing, or maybe even walking the hand in to lift up. We're still tilted, but now expanding, reaching the arm back. Move it around again, so find where your shoulder on this side again feels like it needs the opening. Maybe it's not the most comfortable place, but it feels like maybe there's room to give some space there. Deep breath in, deep breath out. Again, using your patience, your intention, finding a home for your head, and turn it to where it feels most confident and comfortable. Take one more deep breath in. And this time as you exhale, start pulling the top arm and shoulder around. Look down towards your right knee again, and then walk the left hand out. See, it doesn't matter how far, just begin walking and walking and walking around. Keep the sit bones anchored. Remember to try to keep the tailbone heavy, sit bones down, and stretch the arms forward. And it might feel different on this side, maybe not in the upper body, but maybe in the hips or the back. So keep crawling, keep crawling. Again, if you've got a prop there to hold the head, maybe that's where you rest it. Maybe you're a bit more comfortable on this side, and you can let go closer to the floor. So let your head become heavy, the back of the neck long again. And take a few breaths. Arms stretched, hips heavy. Inhale deeper than you normally do. Find space and patience. Begin to relax the arms. Again, hands can stack so forehead has a place to rest, so that the shoulders can go in. Instead of here, let them be here. Deep breath in. Deep breath out. The back of the head, the back of the neck relax. Let your body feel weighted into the mat, into the floor. Deep breath in. Deep breath out. Once again, take a breath that lifts the head, begins to walk the hands back under, to ease back up to the top. As you find your way to the top, I oftentimes kind of scoop my legs in, but we're going to bring our legs around towards the back of your mat and come into an all fours position. I'm going to move my block out to the front in case we want to use it later. Bring your hands under your shoulders. Knees under the hips, which is all fours or tabletop position, we would call it. So we want to make sure that we stack our joints, the hands under the shoulders, the knees sitting hips width apart. So instead of being here, we want to be here, your natural width. I'm just going to rock a little bit side to side. I kind of always like to give a little space for my hips and my shoulders. Feel the edge of your hand, the heel of the hand, the palm. See how your knees feel, and here's a couple of little things that kind of help. If you feel like your knees need some cushion, you can grab a towel or a blanket and toss it under your knees. If you don't have one, slide your mat, fold it, and then put the knees on that fold. And that way, you've got a little bit of cushion for your knees there. If your wrists get tired, tuck your knuckles under. So with the knuckles tucked under, our wrists stay long instead of hinged, and that keeps a little bit more comfort in the wrists. Draw the shoulders back. Let's pause in the center. Do what we call cat-cow. So we'll inhale, drop the belly, lift the tailbone, pull the shoulder blades back, lift the chin. Kind of shine the heart forward. We pull the shoulders back and cinch the shoulder blades into your rib cage. Imagine the string is pulling your heart forward. And then the tailbone, it lifts up, kind of like you're sticking your buttons out. The belly button drops down to the floor, and we create this nice hammock in the back. Lifting the tailbone, pulling the shoulders, lifting the chin and the heart. And this will be our inhale every time we come into our cow back. Inhale. When we exhale, begin to pull the belly button up, drop the head, tuck the tailbone. Do just the opposite. Push the floor away, spread your shoulder blades, and look back toward your knees or your toes. Take the tailbone and pull it down to the floor and suck the belly button in. So we're pulling ribs to hips, hips to ribs. Again, keep pushing the floor away. Try to spread the shoulder blades and puff the heart up between the shoulder blades. Pull the belly button in, pull the tailbone under, try to shrink hips to ribs, ribs to hips, and squeeze like you're doing an abdominal crunch. This is our exhale. As you inhale, drop the belly, lift the tailbone, the heart, the head, and come all the way back into your cow back. And as you exhale, scoop it back out again. So let's just flow this. Inhale comes into cow. Exhale into cat. Deep breath in. When your exhale initiates, then you scoop the breath back out again. And you think of this fluid movement from the top of the head to the tip of the tailbone, full length of our spine, arcing back and forth, expanding and contracting. Cat-cow is really nourishing for the spine and the back. So we flex the spine side to side. We're extending the spine front to back. And pretty soon we'll twist the spine. So all that nourishment in your joints, your spine is very mobile in many places. And sometimes we forget about that mobility. We don't move it as much as we should. Let's take one more breath. Use your exhale to stay rounded in your cat back. And I'm just going to have you send your hips all the way back down to your heels. Let the arms reach out in front. And again, like we did before in seated, can you stretch the arms forward, but keep the hips heavy to your sit bones. So child's pose is a really nice recovery posture. A place that you can come to just reset. Because we're facing the floor again, palms facing inward, head down. It's a very comfortable space to reset with your intention. You can rock the hips a little bit side to side to kind of get your space. We want to feel like we're as long as we can from sit bones to fingertips. Relax the neck. Let your head fall onto your back. I can. If your hips are high, if it's just tight in the knees, tight in the back, you just be here. Sometimes you can take a block and just sit it between your legs and let that be a support to kind of lift your hips. or a blanket kind of folded inside the knees can give you some support there. Let's just stay here for a couple more breaths, not too long. Inhale through the back ribs. Exhale back into the mat. One more big breath. On your next inhale, we're going to rock forward. Just going to find our way into all fours again. I'm going to release that fold in my mat. If you have it, if you have a towel, you can leave it there. If you've got a fold, feel free to open it. So let's walk the hands out a bit further. And rock your hips forward to find your way into a plank position. And I'm just going to have us flow here a little bit. So rock back almost to child's pose, but not quite. And then rock forward. So you're stacking your shoulders over your wrists. And then rocking away to release and open. You have a nice long spine here, shoulders back again, heart rocking forward. And we just let those shoulder blades peel apart and stretch here. Pull the shoulders back and try not to let the hips melt down to the floor or stick the buns out here. Keep them long. Let's do it a couple more times. Stretch back. Rock forward. Exhaling as you rock back. Inhaling as you come forward. One last time. Exhale. And this time as you inhale forward, pause. Stay on our knees to start this into our first chaturanga. So the chaturanga is lowering down into a low plank, if you will. So here's our high plank on the knees. And we bend the elbows, pull the elbows into the ribs and bend down and come to your halfway point. Doesn't matter where, pause there. Take a deep breath in and hold it, hold it, hold it. Shoulders back, elbows in, tailbone tucked. One more breath. On this exhale, lower all the way to the mat. Bring your heart and your hips down. Press the tops of your feet into the mat. Pull your shoulders back and squeeze the elbows in again, kind of like grasshopper arms. Lift your kneecaps off the floor, so squeeze and lift your thigh bones. And then push the hips down. Lift the heart up. We keep pulling the elbows in, pulling the shoulders back. And your eyes are going to stay right down at the floor so the back of the neck stays long. Pull back, press the floor, lift the heart. Then I'm going to kind of walk my ribs, see if I can create a little bit of space in the belly, a little more openness. And push the floor a bit more. Every time I push the floor, I pull my shoulders back, lift my kneecaps, press the feet. Take a breath high in the chest here. Good, one more inhale, but when we exhale, can you push the knees back down? Start pulling your belly button up first, so squeeze up through the center, push the floor away and send the hips back to child's pose. Let your wrists relax, fingers roll, or maybe roll it out a little bit. Take a nice deep breath and rock forward again. Come onto your hands like a plank. But tuck your toes and let's come into downward facing dog. Lift up and rock back. When we get to down dog, I'm just going to kind of walk my feet so that when I spread my hands out, my ribs and shoulders are pushed back toward the thigh bones. My tailbone's going to lift up toward the ceiling, kind of like your cow back. And if you need a little bit in your knees, take it. Sometimes the hamstrings are really tight. Try to melt your heels, so instead of being up on the toes, let them fall toward the mat. Maybe just walk the knees. We call it pedaling the knees. So as you walk the dog here, letting the knees and the hips kind of rock and roll, rolling up into the toes. So it's a really nice way to stretch out the toes, the ankles, the calves. All the while, it's work for the shoulders to hold us here. So can you push through the fingertips and you can press into the pointer and the thumb so that we feel like that energy sends into the center. And finally, let both heels. It's always a time. Take your shoulders and pull them back. So instead of being up here and crowded, pull the shoulders back. Take the armpits and feel like they kind of scoop in toward the middle of your mat, pulling your elbows toward the center. Again, deep breath in. As you exhale, relax your head, let it melt between the arms. Maybe turn your head left and right, no strain. Let your heels melt. You push those fingertips a little more firmly and press the ribs back. And feel free to come to your knees at any point, right? Down dog is a strong posture that takes some time to kind of build up that endurance, to hold, and to really know how to press into the spaces that can support you. The ball of the foot, the fingertips, the shoulders draw back again. Take one more inhale. And on this exhale, we're going to bend our knees and take a little walk all the way to the front of the mat into forward fold. So bend your knees, take that walk, and when you can, relax the shoulders down. Again, knees can be deeply bent, so your ribs kind of melt into your thighs. Legs can be a little bit longer if you like. And the arms tumble wherever they tumble. Please don't feel like, if this is you today, that you're trying to touch the floor. All we're doing is trying to melt toward the floor. Let your head fall and the neck go soft. Let your shoulders melt into your ears. And let your arms down. Elbows up the knees, but then let the neck go soft and relax. If you can get your ribs on your thigh bones, it's similar to supporting the low back. So opening space, letting go of the back of the legs, whether it's long or soft knees. Sometimes it feels good to fold the arms here because it lets the arms tug a little heavier, bringing that weight into the center. Whatever it is, just pause here for another breath or two. On your next breath, if the arms are folded, let them go long again and soften your knees. Inhale, drag your fingers right up your shin bones until you come halfway up. Now take the shoulders, squeeze them backwards, and imagine you're holding a pencil between your shoulder blades. They're not here, they're back, and squeeze. Your shoulders push back, your shoulder blades squeeze into the ribs and into the spine. Remember that cow back, right? Instead of being rounded like a cat, lift your tailbone. And when we lift the tailbone, we give ourselves space for the hips to engage differently, for the low back to be supported by the upper back. So again, shoulder blades back distributes the work all the way down the spine. If we let the shoulders go soft, it puts a lot of pressure here, and we don't want the low back to feel that. So use the entire length of the back. Press your fingers into your shins like you're putting your fingerprints there. For those that feel like you could keep a little bit more space here, feel free to lengthen your legs a little bit. The longer the legs, the more intense the hold, and the more intense the opening. So flat back or halfway lift, inhale, and as you exhale, soften the spine, forward fold. Now remember that flat back, and we're going to inhale and come all the way to the top. So sweep the arms, bend the knees, flat back, inhale all the way up to the top. Arms extended to extended mountain, and then we'll come back to the heart, to mountain pose. So find our way back to heart center. Just remind yourself of your intention. Wiggle the toes out. Notice your feet on the mat. And we just rock forward back a little bit and feel the weight in the front and the back of the foot. Your heels are built to hold your weight. So rock your way back to the heel for a moment and just kind of wiggle out the toes. Lift them up off the mat, toes come up. And then float the toes back down and feel like you're pressing at the base of the big toe and at the base of the pinky toe. Press out to the edge of the foot, so it's like a C shape from the base of the big toe around the pinky all the way back to the heel, pressing down into the mat. Press the thigh bones out. Take the tailbone and pull it down to the floor. And in turn, pull the belly button in. Let your arms fall right down by your sides, so they're open to the front of your mat. And turning the thumbs out, palms forward. Find your shoulder blades. Can you squeeze them back into your spine, into your ribs? Take a breath. Lift up the ribs. Open up the belly. Lift up the chin. For your next inhale, reach the arms to the sky. Now, whether the arms are by your ears, hands together, or even soft elbows, you want to find your shoulders again. So we all have different shoulders, different things we're watching. Find space that your shoulders can be heavy, whether that's arms in or arms open a little bit. I want you to begin to push your hips forward and kind of rock the weight of your body into the balls of the feet. And take some of that weight out of the heel. When you get there, your toes can stay light, press the ball, tuck your tailbone under. Shimmy the ribs up, so feel like your ribs are floating out of the belly. Just pull the arms back, lift the chin up. See if maybe you can drop the heart backward into a tiny little back bend. Now the back bend is up here high. The tailbone's still heavy so that we're not back bending and putting a lot of pressure in the low back. Lifting up, arcing back, holding the thumbs to the wall behind you. Pull your shoulders down, suck the shoulder blades into the ribs. And for some of you, you can walk quite deeply back. And maybe that is more of the shoulders, lifting the ribs. So be you, whether it's bigger or smaller. And take one more deep breath in. And when you exhale, open the arms and start bending the knees. Lift your tailbone as soon as you can and squeeze your shoulder blades. Come through that flat back and forward fold. Let everything go now. Dribble down to the floor. Let the arms fall again. Whether it's here, deep bend in your knees, or here, or here. Deep breath in. And deep breath out. And take one more deep breath and float back into that flat back. But when you get here, I want you to bend your knees quite deeply. We're just going to step the left leg toward the back of the mat and drop that back knee to the mat. Again, you can fold part of your mat, or you can grab your towel or blanket and rock your hips back and forth a little bit. So we're just going to play with the space of the hips, open up here a little bit. We're going to walk through a little bit to open up hips, to get back into some standing postures, and we'll use some of those poses along the way. Rock the hips forward. And this is a really good place to use your blocks. So if you have two of them, what the block does is brings the floor closer to you. So if I'm really crowded here and I can't get my shoulders back, the block then lets me lift and pull the shoulders back. So ultimately we want to create space and length, and the hips sink toward the front foot, open up the front hip. So if that block helps bring you up, use it, right? Pull the shoulders back. Let the body feel like it's just melting into your front foot. Relax the front leg. Now, similar to our mountain pose, you can stay here. This is a really nice neutral spine, long, supported. If you feel like you might be able to open up a little bit to a back bend, take the hand to the knee and push the heart back. But notice my hips didn't move backwards this way. So keep the hips forward as you push the heart back. Deep breath in, high in the chest. A deep breath out, melt into your front heel. Try to relax the front leg. One more inhale. As we exhale, fold the hands and body down. I'm going to unfold my mat and step back to that chaturanga. So stepping the foot back, you can either come back into the knees or onto the toes. Inhale. On your exhale, pull those elbows in, come down to your halfway. If I'm on my toes, I'm now going to use a breath to push through the toes. Roll the heart down and lift back into cobra. Cobra again, pull the shoulders back, look down. If you'd like to go to up dog, keep the tops of the feet down. Lift the heart and push the mat away to arc forward. So the hips are still coming down, the shoulders back, but now the two lips. Squeeze the kneecaps up, no matter if you're here in up dog or here in cobra. Get one more inhale. As you exhale, we lift from the belly, whether it's cobra or up dog. Hold the hips, flip the toes back to downward facing dog. Pull the shoulders back, melt into the heels. Take an inhale, bend the knees. On the exhale, take a walk to the front of the mat. Dangle in your forward fold. On an inhale, draw the fingers up the shins. Pull the shoulders back, lengthen into your halfway or flat back. Exhale, folds back down. Again, find that flat back. Bend your knees and sweep the arms. Inhale comes up to mountain or extended mountain and back to heart center. Inhale, rock the hips forward into the balls of the feet. Open up into your extended mountain. And exhale, dives into forward fold. Inhale again into your halfway, flat back. Now bend the knees quite deeply and send the other leg back. So switching sides. Again, fold your mat if you'd like. Drop the back knee to the mat. Grab those blocks if you'd like. And rock forward and back just a few times. So really, if we don't have enough space between the knees, if I'm really close here, I'm not going to ever be able to get that front leg straight, and it's going to be really crowded. As well, I can't open up the hips the way I want to. So if I create more space between the feet, between the knees, then my rock forward allows me to open up through the hips. Again, doesn't matter if you look similar to anybody else, right? Your spacing, your openness might be different. So it doesn't matter where you're at as long as you're working in the right direction. Let's work that direction forward. So again, walk your hands under your shoulders on top of that lift. Pull the shoulders back. So instead of being here, pull up and back and lift the heart. And use an exhale to just melt your hips forward right into this front foot. We want to feel the space opening in that back front hip, right? You might feel a little bit opening in the front inner thigh. If this feels like it's not much for you, you feel like maybe instead of neutral spine here, you can go into a bit of a back bend, bring your hands to your knees, and keep your hips where they are. Just push the heart back. So the hips stay melted forward. Use the strength of the arms to push the heart up and open. Inhaling deeply. Exhaling just as deeply. Settling into the front heel, wiggle out the toes. One more deep breath in. And on the exhale, forward and down. Take a nice full breath, lift up. Try to tuck the toes if you'd like, or just come back to your knees and find your plank. Pull the shoulders back, chaturanga comes down, elbows tight. Push through the toes or just rock to the mat. Vinyasa flow, we call it, inhaling into cobra or up dog, and exhaling, downward facing dog. When you get to down dog, just settle into your feet, push the fingertips, take a deep breath in, and a deep breath out. One more time, deep breath in, and deep breath out. Take the right leg, inhale it up to the sky, call it down dog or split down dog, three-legged down dog. Again, leg is locked. If your leg is here and this is your straight leg and that's your opening, do it. If you can lift it higher, take it higher. And if your hips want to just spin open, take a little spin. Feel free to kind of find your space, your opening. Point the toes or flex them, what feels good to you. One more inhale. Now when you exhale, look at your hands. And we're going to try to step between the hands into a lunge. If you need to, bring the back knee down, step it through, use your blocks, right? And then take a deep breath. Lift the hips back up. And rise up. We're going to flip the back foot into warrior one and come all the way up to the top. So warrior one, the back toes are turned so that it's, if you're a clock, my left foot's forward, my foot is on the dial at 2 o'clock. If my right foot's forward, my foot is on the dial at 10 o'clock. And the shoulders go heavy. And again, find your arms where they need to be. Press down through the back foot, squeeze up through the knee. we always are trying to get this back hip to face forward. It may not work perfectly, but trying to get that rotation, sliding the left thigh bone back. Maybe there's room to sit down a little bit into the front heel, but push back through the back leg. Let's just take a little opportunity here to find some space. So I'm going to have you lean forward. As you lean forward, pull the shoulder back around. So take that left shoulder, pull it around. Push back through the back foot and try to slide the right thigh bone backward. Now keep your hips just as they are. Keep pressing the feet, but lift back up again. See if it's a bit more square, maybe a bit more challenging. One more inhale. As you exhale, begin to turn, spin your back foot, lift that heel, spin it around, warrior two. So as we turn the foot, the shoulders, the foot square out to the front or side of the mat. Take the front knee, push it back towards your pinky toe so that your knee is in line with the big toe or middle toe, second toe, and the shoulders go heavy. We sit down, but making sure we're not leaning forward. Nice and stacked, warrior two. I like to think about my arms floating out rather than tensing and squeezing. Just let them settle. Your eye gaze goes to your fingertips, and that's where we kind of take our mind back to our intention. Deep breath in. Deep breath out. Think about your feet for a moment and press through the edge of the feet. If there's room, sit down a little bit. Every time you sit, push your knee toward the pinky toe. One more inhale here. And then on the exhale, let the left arm drop down the leg. The right arm reach up to the ceiling. Stretch like you could touch the ceiling. Maybe looking up toward the hand. Your left shoulder is rocking, relaxed, melting into your left hand. We're extending up to the ceiling, pulling from your hip to your fingertip, reverse warrior. The legs are working hard, so keep breathing. Keep settling into the front knee and pushing that knee to your pinky toe. One more deep breath in. And as we exhale, come back through warrior two. Melt your elbow to your front knee, coming into side angle. The arm can either float here at the ceiling or come across to the ear, but from your head to your foot is a straight line. So if my feet are too close together, it might look something like this. Not a straight line, right? So walk back. And if you need to, come here so you get to that straight line, right? So bring it to your hand, to your elbow. And if you feel like you are crowded here, is there room in your hips to keep walking your foot back? Because the more space you create here, the more we can tip and find our home. So opening up the hips. The beauty of this arm is that it's connected to your knee. So instead of letting the knee fall in, can you help the knee open up? Extend the arm, whether it's up or to the ear. Take the top shoulder, pull it back. If you find that you're quite open here and this is comfortable to you, and you've ended up something like this, resting on the shoulder, first of all, can you push the knee away and create space here in the neck? Or if that is you, you may need to come down and put your block right here under your hand. Or maybe you can come to the floor. Again, and keeping that straight line. I'm not here, right? Or feet too close together. Take a deep breath in. Deep breath out. One more deep breath. Now we're going to turn to look at the floor. Take your back foot, spin it around. Take the left hand down and sandwich that front foot and step back to your chaturanga. Again, knees or toes, come to the mat or chaturanga. Roll through the hips, the heart, cobra or up dog. And then exhale back, downward facing dog. Take a moment to pause here, child's pose if you want it, but take 3 full breaths. Head melt to the mat. Inhale and exhale. Deep breath in, deep breath out. Just going to turn to the other side of my mat. Inhale, take the left leg to the sky. Pause there, take a moment. So we're on the other side, looking toward the hand, reaching through to find your way into your low lunge, and the option is to bring your back knee to the mat. And then we're going to take the hips up, flip the toes so they're turned again to that dial on the clock. Inhale up. So again, my left foot is back, my foot is at 10 o'clock, turned in that dial. If my right foot's back, it's turned to 2 o'clock. If you need to turn it a little shallower, 11 or 1, then bring it around so that you can square the hips as much as you can. Find a place for your shoulders, your arms. Maybe it's open a bit more. Maybe it's bent elbows or arms by your ears. Wiggle your front toes and then just take a deep breath in. You exhale, sit down a little deeper. Take your shoulders, let them fall. So try not to get so tense in your posture that things lift upward. Settle them down. Push through your left foot, your back foot your right foot as much as you can. And lean forward a little bit. Let's create some space in the back again. Try to pull the back hip around and then rock front leg back. Deep breath in. And on your next breath, keep your hips and your feet just as they are, but lift back up again. Maybe harder, but a little bit more square in the hips. Push, push, push through your back foot. Take one more breath. Let's inhale, lift up a little bit and open the arms on your exhale to turn the back foot. Settle into warrior two. So the back foot is turned either straight towards your heart or just slightly towards the front of your mat. Arms float, hips settle. Take the front knee, push it toward the pinky toe. Take the back hip, try to drop it. So instead eyes come down toward the fingertip, and again, just take a few breaths and thought to yourself to find your intention. Let your arms go soft and float. Roots sit a little deeper. Push the knee toward the pinky toe. Let the back arm drop toward the leg. The front arm reach up to the sky. So you're going to let your body arc backward. Drop back into the back arm, shoulder, and reach up to the ceiling. The eyes will look where the eyes want to look, right? Where the head and neck feel most comfortable. But keep this back shoulder heavy. Feel as if you're growing and lengthening and touching the ceiling with the top arm. Breathe into the legs. Press into the feet out toward the edge of the mat. Deep inhale. On your exhale, float back through warrior two and just begin to lean forward until maybe your hand or your elbow can touch the front leg. And the arm again might float here and stop, might come to your ear. So if I get here, again, I'm crowded and I look like a triangle, I don't know, like a hinge, I'm going to try to walk my foot back because we want to peel the shoulder open and create this straight line. So walking back, finding space in the hips, space to open the chest and shoulders. And remember, space here, not melting onto the shoulder, but pushing it away. Or taking the option to bring a block under your hands so that you can come a little deeper. So the goal is to get closer to the floor, but the only way we get there is to keep our alignment, to open the space between the feet, to open the hips. Deep breath in, pull the shoulder back. Deep breath out, settle the hips. And breathe in. Breathe out. Let's get one more breath. As you exhale, look toward the floor. Start to turn the back foot, the hip, the shoulder. Plant the hands to sandwich the front foot. And let's go back through one last chaturanga on the knees or on the toes. Mountain through your chaturanga. Vinyasa flow, push through the toes, the heart, the hips. Lift to cobra or up dog. Exhaling, downward facing dog. Shoulders back away from the ears. Mountain to your heels. 2 more breaths here in down dog. Let the head fall. Your last exhale. Drop back down to the knees. In child's pose, feel free to take your knees open if you'd like on this second time. Or keep the knees and feet together. Melt down. As we start, maybe the hands are under the forehead. If your knees are together, another nice way to relax the shoulders is to tuck your hands back by your feet. Just let the arm bones and the shoulders melt. Breathe into the back ribs. Take a breath or two to walk your hands back under your shoulders and slowly lift the head and the heart. And as you lift the head and the heart, spin it around. Come to seated. We're going to come to our back and do just a little twist and then melt into our Shavasana, which is where we'll finish our practice. So as you roll to the back, bring your knees up here for a moment. I just want you to open your arms out to the side and just rock your knees a little bit side to side. Doesn't have to be big, doesn't have to be much. Just a little massage in the back. Palms face the ceiling. Shoulders are heavy. As your knees come back to center, bring your feet flat to the floor. And all we're going to do is a simple twist. What I'd like you to do is first lift your hips up just a little bit. Now scoot your hips over towards your left and then put your hips back down on the floor. Take your knees and let them fall to the right. I'm going to take my knees and stack them and kind of move my feet around because if you get here, it might feel a little bit tense, right, on your hips or your glutes or your spine. So I'm going to move my knees until I feel like I can relax my legs. Maybe my legs are a bit longer. Maybe they're split apart today. So do you, right? When my legs are apart, I'm going to get a little more opening here in the hip. When my legs are closer together, I'm going to get a little bit more intense in the back and the spine and down the edge of the legs. No matter what you're choosing, can your shoulders stay heavy? And then take an inhale with me, and when you exhale, turn your head the opposite direction of your knees so that we complete our twist from top to bottom of the spine. Take a deep breath in. As you exhale, soften your elbows, relax your hands. Inhale. As you exhale, soften your knees, your inner thighs, and relax your feet. Take 2 more breaths here, just softening with each exhale. And begin to take your 3rd breath. Turn my head back to center, maybe curl my feet in a little bit so I can touch my toes and roll the knees back to center. Your hips will be lopsided, right? So come back to the middle, reset the arms, Lift the hips up just a little bit again. Scoot them over to the right and drop your knees to the left. And take that same journey, right? Maybe your feet stay where they are. Maybe they move or kick out, or you draw your knees in a little bit. So again, each side's going to feel a little different. Find your lift and turn the head opposite direction of the knees. Just pause, scan the body. Every breath, try to relax without any tension that might be held in shoulders, hands, inner thighs, feet. Deep breaths in, deep breaths out. As you begin to take your next breath, once again, maybe curl the feet in, use a breath or two to slowly roll back to center. Reset your hips. I always like to take the last part of our practice before we melt into Shavasana and our stillness to just move, right? Do what feels good to you. Moving feet around, rolling out the ankles, twisting a little bit more, stretching long. So really kind of just finding your home, finding what works for you. And as you're working out some of that movement, doesn't matter what it is, you do what feels good to you. I want you to find your way into your breath again, your attention again. Find your way into acknowledging what might feel comfortable as a final posture of stillness. And since this might be new to you, practicing. I slip on my jacket so I stay a little bit warm. You slip on your socks if you like. A really traditional pose for Shavasana. And Shavasana is just our space to still the body, keep the breath moving, keep the mind present, marinate in our energy. That common posture is a corpse pose. I know it sounds a bit morbid, but it's just relaxing into your mat, letting your legs open, your feet soften, your knees can limp, and your arms melt. Usually open palm to the ceiling again, arms away so that our shoulders can melt, but you can kind of find your way here. As you wiggle into it, turn your head, let it melt. Wiggle your arms out, see what feels good. Is it wide open behind you? And sometimes it's nice to place your hand on your heart. Feel your breath and bring that space again, closing the hands in back to your center. So whether you're open or closed, or maybe bending the knees, opening the feet, letting your knees rock together, which is where I like to be to support my low back. You want to find a space of comfort where you feel most relaxed, most at ease, to just breathe and be still. Inhale and exhale. Slow your breath down. Be patient. Let your thought drift back into your intention. yourself the opportunity to appreciate what you've done to honor your body, your breath, your practice. As you hear the chime, take a moment to acknowledge the space around you. Take a deep breath in. Begin to slowly move the body, wiggling fingers and toes, gently moving elbows, knees. Gradually just letting the body stretch in broader movement. And take some time, maybe melt over to one side. And tucking the knees in towards the hips and melting the head on the arm. Give yourself a breath or two. Remind yourself of your intention. Appreciate the energy that you take with you. And gently work your way back to a simple seated position as we began our practice. Let's take a deep breath together. Inhale the arms, reach them out to the side and up to the sky. And exhale them back down to your heart. And at your heart, between your hands, you hold your intention. You hold the energy of your practice. And we honor it here. We honor what we've given the body, that we've moved the breath, and the breath moved us. And we honor the mind, that we chose to step on our mat. We chose to stay present. we chose to nourish in all three of these spaces. Thank you for sharing, for honoring your journey and allowing us to journey together, and honoring the light in each of us. Namaste. Thank you again for joining practice and for coming back to the basics or starting with the basics. And I hope to see you again.